Have you ever had one of those job interviews that just made you feel dirty afterwards? Just like, oh God, I feel so slimy and gross. I need to go take a shower to get the stank of this interview off of you. Because that is me this morning. Hi, everybody. I am recording this on a Monday. How long has it been? It's been almost a month since I updated the pod. I'm so sorry about that. Between the emotional breakdowns and just the everything, I have not had even a thought in my head for the podcast, but I'm better now. So here I am. For those of you who cannot see me on the YouTube, my hair has done a thing. It's been a while since I've dyed my hair, so I decided to dye it in advance of a couple of job interviews that I'm doing this week. And because I didn't know the company's policies on hair dye, I thought, okay, I had better pick a relatively natural color, just to play it safe. So Shauna and I were at Walgreens because, half-price chocolate day post-Easter, I suppose we did this on Good Friday, so pre-Easter half-price chocolate sales. And she helped me pick out this really lovely shade of neutral dark brown, which I thought would look really nice, especially with the hints of purple and red that are still in my hair from the last 2 dye jobs. I thought those would add some nice undertones. Well, the beast being the thirsty bitch that she is, I knew that I needed 2 boxes of hair dye, like one just for the roots and then one for everything else. Which is ridiculous, but this is how we have to do things now. And because I know that the beast is a thirsty bitch, I have the habit of leaving my hair dye in longer than is recommended, to really give the beast time to soak in all of the hair dye and keep it so that, it doesn't fade as quickly. The result, I have accidentally dyed my hair pretty much black. And I still can't say this without laughing. My 15-year-old trash emo self must be so proud of me right now because, depending on the light, you can see some brown, you can see some auburn, but basically it just looks black. I did not intend this, but here we are. Oops. I can't even be mad about it because honestly, I have always wanted to dye my hair black. And when I was living it with my mother, she wouldn't let me. And, when I got older, I was always like, I've been working jobs that didn't necessarily let me have hair dye that was clearly not my actual hair color. So, and then when I got to CTS, I was so enamored of dyeing my hair bright colors and, chopping it off every 6 weeks and doing something new with it that I never even stopped to consider, oh, hey, I can dye my hair black now. But now I've accidentally dyed my hair black and it makes me really happy. So that's an accidental good thing that has happened in the past 3 weeks. Now for the other stuff. Have I mentioned this? I'm pretty sure I have not mentioned this on the podcast or pretty much anywhere online yet. So, dramatic pause to drink my sun tea. A couple of weeks ago, at 4:45 on a Monday afternoon, I got a meeting request from the office of the president at work. Not like Joe Biden president, but president of my institution. And I saw this meeting request and immediately hit a panic spiral because I was like, oh shit. I know this has something to do with the company reorganizational chart and oh no. So I immediately called my mommy so that I could have my initial panic in peace. And, she tried to calm me down. She tried to be like, you don't know yet what the reorg looks like. It could be that they are calling you in to discuss your new duties. Stop catastrophizing before you know that there's a need to catastrophize. Which is ironic because I inherited my mom's anxiety. little bit, pot calling the kettle black. But so I got off the phone with my mom, and I thought, I'm not as optimistic as my mother is. Maybe I should do a little bit of research into what questions I should ask in case this is not me being structurally reorged, but me being structurally kicked out. So I did some research, wrote down like 15 questions about like severance packages and benefits and, timelines and whatnot. So the meeting was at 9:00 on a Tuesday morning, because of course it was. And as soon as the president said, I'm going to read a prepared statement from the lawyers, I was like, motherfucker, I don't need you to make the prepared statement. I know exactly what this meeting is about. Shit. So yeah, I'm being laid off from my job. I don't know how many details I can go into legally, but I'm one of several positions that is being laid off as part of this structural reorganization. The past few weeks have been just so full of anger and sadness and betrayal and fear. Just a whole bunch of negative emotions. And now I have to admit, I have been saying on this blog, and I have believed for quite some time, that I am ready to move on from this position. I am ready to go someplace else. And, new job, more money, something that is exclusively in the events sector rather than, this weird mishmash of like 3 jobs that I'm doing right now. So intellectually, I am okay with leaving my current place of employment. I am okay with whatever. Ideally, I would have liked to have more control over the timeline, because job hunting gives me really bad anxiety. And I had been hoping for a more leisurely job hunt where I could afford to take my time and to really look for a position that really suited me, that was everything that I wanted. Theoretically, I do still have control over that. I will remain employed until May 14th. The salty side of me thinks it's because they want me, with all of my Zoom expertise, to get them through their Zoom graduation. And then as soon as that is done, they are letting me go. I can't do that like black woman drag queen tongue pop thing, which is unfortunate. I should put that just like on a audio file so that I can play it whenever I need to. But so yeah, they're letting me go May 15th. I also don't know how much of this I can legally say, so I'm going to be vague. I do get a very generous severance package, which is helpful, and it gives me a cushion. So that's great. And I am legitimately very grateful for that, because of the several positions that were being let go, I have seniority in terms of how many years I've been at that company. So I hope that was taken into account when they prepared my severance package. Salty sip of my tea. Anyways, so yeah, I'm being laid off. I don't like it. I mean, I do. Like, I recognize that this is a good opportunity for me. This is a good thing. I have a tendency, a very bad tendency, to stick with a job until the absolute bitter end, either until the company itself closes down, as was the case at the burger place that I worked in New York, or until I am so physically nauseous at the thought of going into my job that I snap and take the first new opportunity I can find. which was what happened with my 2 jobs prior to this. So this is ultimately a good thing, and I recognize that. But it's still so fucking scary. Like I'm still so anxious about the fact that, okay, I need to find a job. I have a cushion, but not much of one. Like I need to find a job. I need to have the security of knowing I know what my next step is. Which leads me to this job interview that I had this morning. It had been marketed on whichever job site I found it on as an event coordination job. It is not. It is a marketing job. It is a marketing fundraising job. And the company model is so suspicious. Like, they claim to be like a really big, reputable, fast-growing company, but like, you're pushing your new associates from entry position through to opening their own office within 18 months. Like, no, like, that's not how anything works. And just their business model in and of itself seems so unsustainable, but that's not even the part that turned me off for this job. It was the interviewer. You know how sometimes you just look at a person and you know, I want nothing to do with this human being? That was me this morning. This motherfucker of a snake oil salesman in his blue checkered blazer, and oh god, it was everything that I hate about salespeople. And then like we get into like what the job entails and what's going to be the timeline, and you know, looking at their management team and whatever. And oh my god. So first I looked at the other interviewers who were on this. It was a webinar interview, which is already a weird fucking thing to do. So I was looking at the other interviewees for this, and it was a room just full of white people. One of the guys may have been Latinx, but I'm not certain. But everybody else in this call, clearly a white person. There were only 3 women on this call of like 15 people. 3 women, almost entirely white. This is already not a company that I want to work for. Then they talk about their management team, and the management team is slightly more diverse, still very much lacking with the women representation, still a lot of white people. Now, granted, their management team is very international, so that is a point in their favor, but like, this, I don't get good vibes from this company. I really hate this interviewer. If everybody in the company is like this interviewer, which is likely because that's why you choose your person to interview these people, I want nothing to do with this company. This is nope. I don't know what they saw on my resume that made them think this is a good fit for us, but oh, fuck this company. Oh, I want nothing to do with y'all. Nope. No, not today. Not tomorrow. Not any day. So yeah, that was a bad first interview. It was not the best place to start out this process of getting used to going into interviews again. No, thank you. No, thank you. I have another interview scheduled for this week. That one is a phone interview, but I'm much more interested in that position anyway. So I'm looking forward to that interview. Yeah, that one I'm much more hopeful for. I just have to get over my instinctive urge to shower because I feel so slimy after listening to this douchebag talk for half an hour. Like, oh no. I hope that you can hear in my voice just the sheer amount of no that I felt throughout this interview process. It was half an hour. It was a webinar. I had to be on camera, but I didn't have to say a word. But I was closing my mouth, but doing that kind of like ventriloquist talking thing where I was like, oh my god, I hate you, fuck this, this is not at all what I want to be doing, I have to keep my lips closed so that you can't see that I'm talking, but fuck no. So yeah, that interview did not go well. And now I'm going to prepare for the next one. Yeah. Today is, I don't know why people call it Easter Monday. Nothing happened the Monday after the Easter. Like, no. But it's Easter Monday. Shauna and I had to work on Good Friday, and it was a long day. That was just... So we had to work a memorial service. And note to self, I need to maybe not go to memorial services. Like, I understand that sometimes I have to be there to, like, either greet the guest as they walk in, make sure that everything is set, but I don't think I should actually work memorial services because that is really rough on me. I have a very hard time staying present within the context of a memorial service. It's a thing that I know I need to work on psychologically, but right now, I ain't there. Anyway, so it was a memorial service, and Shauna and I were there basically to get everything set up and to run the very many AV components of this memorial. Originally, this was supposed to be 14 people down in our first floor chapel. It was going to be very minimal AV. It was going to be relatively simple. Originally there was going to be a Zoom component to this, so we had to figure out how we were going to make that work, but we did. So it was supposed to be relatively simple. And then things changed. The widow of the professor emeritus who died, the event just started to balloon. Like, we added in multiple pieces of music, not to just use as like an underscore for the service. No, we were using these as actual segments of the memorial service, which is a terrible idea, especially because they had not thought about what are people supposed to look at while we're sitting there and listening to this music. Fortunately, they had provided a PowerPoint of photos. So I made the executive decision. I just very quickly pulled that PowerPoint up and I let it run during those musical segments. Thank goodness I did. That was a very smart decision. Pat on the back for me. Now, it would have been easiest had there just been 2 PowerPoints. Had there been one PowerPoint that was just photos that we just let play underneath everybody's speeches and underneath the musical selection and whatever. And then if there had been a second PowerPoint that contained all of the video clips, because there were like 4 video clips. And 3 of those clips were from the recorded Zoom session for a previous memorial service that had been held entirely virtually. Now, there is no one on our team at work who currently has the skills to do that kind of video editing. So instead of having all of these clips pulled out of that original Zoom recording, isolated, and just into a PowerPoint, I had to keep switching back and forth between like 4 different programs to get all of these elements to go. And of course, none of those transitions went smoothly. I was switching between Windows Media Player, and side note, it's been like, almost 10 years since I've used Windows Media Player regularly. I forgot what a bitch this program can be to operate correctly. Oh, it made me mad. None of the tracks wanted to play individually. It wanted to just keep going. Even though I told it to mute and to stop, it did not. And then I had to oh my god, which program am I switching between? I need it to start. I need the music to fucking stop. Oh god, they were such clunky, bad transitions. My stage management soul was screaming the entire time. It was not good. But that's not the important part of a memorial service. No one is going to remember that. And it was a lovely service. Beautiful things were said. Whatever, it's fine. And the thing, although it ballooned out of control, it actually managed to stay within the time limit. It was just an hour long. Thank everything. Praise Jesus, Buddha. Because I don't think I could have handled it if it went on any longer. Now, part of the reason that I was so stressed, part of it was I had started my period. So I was very emotional. I was very done with everything. I was in pain because the cramps have been bad this month. So physically, I was not prepared to deal with this. But also, my coworkers' stress levels were so high. It was driving me crazy. Like, the woman who organized this event, I love her dearly. This is her first event in her new structural reorganization role as internal events coordinator. So I knew that there was going to be a learning curve, and I was totally cool with that. I am here for you. I will train you in everything that I know. We'll get you up to speed. So I knew that this was going to be somewhat bumpy. And also I had figured this out from like the planning process of this whole mess. So I was like, that's fine. It's whatever. Not a problem. I love you. I will give you all of my help. But Shauna was freaking the fuck out over the AV. Partially because now that I'm leaving and she lost another one of her team members, she has no one left on her team. And in Shauna's previous position as like facilities director, she didn't need to have granular knowledge of our AV equipment. She didn't need to have expert level knowledge of how to run all of this shit. But now she needs it. And she's freaking out because she doesn't think that she has the knowledge that she needs. And perhaps she doesn't. However, she was so anxious and so anal retentive. We need to check every single thing. We need to test every single thing, even though we have already tested it 3 times in the past week. We have to test it again day of. Okay, fine. Some of that I get. Some of the pieces were not ready to be tested the last time we tested, which was 2 days. 2 days before the event. So, okay. Totally fine. I get it. Let's test those things. But she could not calm down. She was freaking the fuck out, and it was starting to freak me the fuck out. And I did not really have the mental capacity that day to be the calm one of the two of us. But I had to control myself, and I had to be the calm one. Against her, just like almost Muppet levels of anxiety, and I was just... And of course, during the actual execution of this event, when things were getting a little sticky and I was having trouble transitioning between the two, Shauna was constantly popping out of her seat, ready to like jump in and fix things. And I just, at one point, I almost wanted to physically push her back into her chair and be like, I've got this. Give me a second. Just sit. It was not great. She apologized afterwards when we were headed out for half price chocolate. She was like, I'm sorry I drove you crazy with my anxiety. So that was nice and helpful, and I appreciate the fact that she was aware that she was a wreck. So yeah, it was a very long day. And after the memorial service, they had an interment of our Professor Emeriti's ashes in our memorial garden. Totally fine. That's cool. I don't have to be there for that. I'm going to tear down the AV. Except for the fact that we couldn't tear down most of the AV because Shauna and I needed to be there for a few hours because one of our other professors needed to record a sermon that she was giving. Motherfucker. Okay, fine. It's fine. Whatever. I don't care. So instead, I decided to focus on the hole in the ground where our dear departed was laid in state. So I took it upon myself, okay, I'm just going to grab the shovel. I'm standing here in my black and fuchsia lacy dress and my tights and my boots. And these are not like work boots, of course. These are like my nice knee-high work boots. And I'm just going to stand here and I'm going to shovel dirt back into this 18-inch hole in the ground. and I'm going to mulch over it, and I need that done. I need something to do to just calm down. So yeah, I buried the professor in the hole in the ground. Why is my job so weird? Anyway, so yeah, Friday was very difficult. And also, earlier that week, I had gotten a meeting request from my department VP. And the blurb for the meeting description was like, to discuss details around the COVID response team, of which I am a part. And I have kind of been like the one of the outward facing members of the group, because I've been sending some communications back and forth. Now, this is a whole nother thing. I honestly don't know if we're going to have time in this recording to go over all of it, so I'm going to try and summarize it. The COVID response team was formed kind of back in February, and it was formed because at the February board meeting, the board members asked, what is your plan for reopening the building, hopefully this fall? There was no plan in place. So Shauna, as the facilities manager, was tasked with putting together a plan. Okay. So she pulled in a few people to help her, but like we were never officially appointed. We're not like officially sanctioned. We don't have the authority to make the changes that we recommend. It's been very frustrating. Well, earlier in March, we sat down with some of the other members of the team, and Shauna and I presented our research. Now, Shauna had access to the University of Chicago's reopening plan, some of which was not going to be helpful for us because, UC is a resident undergrad facility, but being that they are our landlord, we figured, we should probably adapt the majority of their policies. The UC's policy document is almost 60 pages long. So Shauna was pulling some basic information from that package. I was helping her pull together, like, these are the resources that we're going to need. These are the sorts of policies we're going to have in place. This is the staff and time commitments we're going to need. So we presented all of this information, and one of the senior members of our team was like, oh my God, we can't do this. It's March and they want to reopen in September. There's no way we have enough time for this. Because, everybody is overworked right now. Everybody is completely overwhelmed. Nobody got time. So we made our official recommendation. I wrote the email. We wrote the official recommendation that we recommend that we do not open this fall and wait to open until our January intensive session. Because we currently do not have the staff and resources that we will need to successfully enact these policies and ensure the safety of everybody in our community. The academic dean then shoots the moon, raises objections, some of which were actually valid, some of which concerned our ATS accreditation and like some of our legal responsibilities to some of our students who are required to have in-person stuff. Great, cool. We were willing to work on that. But the dean shot the moon and sent out to all faculty, staff, and students the plan for the academic year, which includes an in-person modality. Explode my head, please. And it's not exploding into candy. It's just fucking exploding. So the group reconvenes. We add a couple of people, one of which being the academic dean. And we say very plainly, okay, we understand that we have to open in person this fall because of our accreditation status, because of these other reasons that you have raised. Sure. These are the things that we have to do in order to get that done. And A of all, you fired the facility, you let go the facilities coordinator because of the structural reorganization. You let go of your event coordinator, me, because of the structural reorganization. So two very important members of the team that's going to be primarily responsible for doing all of this will not be here come fall. And most of you also, I mean, you're going to be here, but none of you have volunteered to assist with any of this. None of you, like, no one has stepped up. And part of that, I admit, is probably because we have not been very explicitly clear about, okay, we need to get this done. You are delegated to handle this part of this. That has not happened. I think that needs to happen immediately. However, we left that last meeting, we still had not delegated who needs to do the work, who's going to tackle what parts. And like, September seems really far away. It's not. This is April. We don't have time left. We have 5 months to get this done. And I need to stop saying we because I'm going to be gone come May 15th. Or so I believed. Because then I got this meeting request from my departmental VP about the COVID response team. You know what she asked me to do? She asked me, when my employment terminates on May 15th, to re-sign on as either an hourly worker or an independent contractor to be the COVID policy person, to identify the policies, to do the research, to write the policy documents, whatever those may be, to potentially be an in-person compliance officer to ensure that classrooms are safe, to ensure that policies are followed during events, potentially through September 30th. Oh, hey, I did it that time. Excuse me, what? You're letting me go when I could have done all of this for you, but you're asking me to come back and do it in a situation where you will not have to pay my benefits, you will not have to feed into my 401k. You're going to ask me to do all of this work that you don't want to do because you have now realized that you're being short-sighted, and your short-sightedness is now coming back to fuck you up the ass. No. Sorry. I've been a little angry about this proposal because as it was made to me, the feeling of anger and betrayal that I felt at being offered this job was so much. I had to physically bite my tongue to keep silent and kind of clench my fist to not start crying in rage. What the fuck? Now, my mother, pacifist, charitable woman that she is, suggested that this is not meant to be an insult to you. This is a recognition of your skills. And hey, it's maybe not the worst idea to get some extra money. I see her point, but also, fuck that. They can now sleep in the bed that they have made. So in a weird way, this backstabbing awfulness of an offer has kind of like severed the last of my loyalty ties to this place. And I'm like, oh no, nope, this is your problem now. I have been on this team and I have been making these recommendations to you since February, and you have not listened. And now you're shooting yourselves in the foot, and I'm not in the mood to save you. Guys, I just, no, thank you. Now, some of my friends who are more petty than my mother is were like, I mean, you're the one with the power in this situation. You're the one who can say, oh, you want me to do this for you as an independent contractor? Cool. Here's my ridiculously high rate per hour. And if you are not willing to pay that, I'm not willing to negotiate that price. Which I like. I like the thought of being that petty. However, I know the value of not burning my bridges behind me, and I feel like that's a really good way to burn my bridges. But also, I don't even want to entertain the discussion at this point. Like, I wasn't enthused about doing this work in the first place. Why would I voluntarily agree to do it now? And like, I know that the way that this would work would be all of that work would be put on me, because that would be my sole job at that point, would be to do the COVID stuff. So it would come off of everybody else's plate and onto mine. And I'm not in the mood to do that, frankly. So yeah, I ranted about this to my therapist last week, and she was like, no, I am putting my foot down. You're not going to say no to this. It was actually a pretty funny conversation that we had because we were kind of like in complete agreement that, no, no, you can take that offer and take it elsewhere. Thank you. I'm not interested. Felt pretty liberating to come to that decision actually, because I have since I got the news that I was being laid off, I've kind of been in triage mode where I've been like, oh my God, I need to take all the responsibility for making sure that I leave this job in the best possible condition, that I have as much information disseminated to people as possible so that I've got them set up to succeed as much as humanly possible. I'm still feeling some of that, honestly, but it's mostly because I love my coworkers and I don't want them to feel any more fucked over than they already do. But I have no more desire to save the sinking ship. Like, nope, nope. Y'all can live with the consequences of your actions. I am no longer interested in helping you. My pettiness is coming out in full force, and I don't feel very inclined to stop it. But that's okay, I think. So, yeah, slimy as hell interview this morning. Really shitty couple of weeks. Um, I was supposed to go out to the burbs this weekend for Easter, but on Friday, after a terribly long day where I was just so done with life and people and everything, I made the executive decision that I need to bow out of Easter. I cannot stand being around people right now, not even family. All I want is to curl up in my armchair in my pajamas and have nothing to do with people. I want to be essentially nonverbal this weekend. So I did, and it was awesome. I feel a lot better today than I did on Friday. So that was a good mental health decision. And I took today off, as did Shauna, because we had to work on Good Friday, which, us being a seminary, is kind of like an automatic day off because, Jesus. So yeah, we're taking our day off today. And tomorrow, I guess it's back into the trenches, back into the stuff and things. God, the thought of that is exhausting me. So I'm not going to think about it right now. I'm going to enjoy this day off. I have things to do today. Like I have therapy and I have an appointment with the orthopedic. That's the word I'm looking for. With the orthopedic doctor for my ankle, and I have a Zoom discussion that I'm on tonight. But I'm not working, so I'm gonna chill for the rest of my day because I can and because I need to. So I think that's all that I'm going to talk about for right now. I'm sure I could think of others, but it's already been almost 40 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there. And until next time, my dear friends, stay safe, stay sane, and dear God, I hope none of you have to go through the kind of sleazy, awful interview that I had today. So yeah, I'll see you later.